Well, welcome back to the Friday live stream, guys. Thanks so much for hopping on today. My name is Rylan Russell. If you're new around here, welcome to the channel. I like to do these little live streams really just to connect with you guys. I'm over 3,000 subscribers, and it's just so encouraging, the feedback that I'm getting from you guys, as I've just tried to keep doing content on my channel that can help out. You know, I'm a worship and a media arts pastor here in Owasso, Oklahoma, and I'd love to know where you're watching from today. And it's just cool to see, you know, the global church all trying to kind of like help each other out. And that's my goal with my channel, is that I would be a blessing to you guys. And, you know, some of the things that I've taken, you know, a lot of time to figure out, then I can pass that along to y'all. And, you don't have to waste as much time as I did along the way. So today on the live stream, we got time for some Q&A stuff, so feel free to drop questions in the chat. We're going to look at some just different tech stuff that has come out that, I don't know, could it be helpful in our worship ministries? And then I think I've got like 17 or 18 churches that have submitted live streams for review. So I wasn't actually planning on doing a live stream this week. I was going to just move to like once a month. But with that many in the queue, it's like, man, I don't know, maybe we just need to slam through these. But let's see who's hopping on the live stream today. Thanks so much for joining us. We got Isaac in the house. Let's see. I thought I had that working. There we go. All right. So I'm controlling these comments from an iPad using H2R graphics. And Isaac Lay is in the house from Troy, Ohio. We got Peter Flores from Cali. And, oh, wow. Nick watching from, I don't know how to say that, Australia, 12 a.m. Hey, that's awesome, dude. Hopefully I don't put you straight to sleep, or maybe that's your goal. Maybe that's why you're watching this. We've got Switzerland in the house. Wow. And Eddie from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So yeah, I love seeing that, just how we're all the church trying to do the same thing. So thanks so much, guys, for jumping on the live stream. Before we get into like new worship tech, let me just answer a couple questions. So we'll start off with some Q&A for you guys that are here right now. Feel free to drop any tech questions, any worship leading questions. I don't know, any silly questions like this one. That is really a great question. Isaac says, what's the greatest show in history and why is it The Office? That's so easy, because The Office is like that comfort food. If you don't know me, like I'm definitely a huge fan of The Office. It's that comfort food that, you know, it just soothes the soul, and it's so quotable. And the thing that I think makes it the best is definitely the character development in it. I mean, each character is so unique and has their own thing that you love and their own thing that you kind of can't stand about them. But probably the thing that keeps it standing the test of time is the quotable nature of it. So if you're anything like me, our church office sometimes can really resemble The Office. So we've got some other fellow Office lovers here on staff. So we probably quote it way too much and drive the people that have never seen it crazy. So Isaac also says, I'd love to see a video on your charging solution for all the batteries required for a Sunday morning. Man, that's actually a good, probably helpful video. I've seen quite a few different people's solutions, and there's some unique ones out there. I've kind of got ours separated into two different areas. And so, yeah, maybe I can do that. A little walkthrough of how we set up all of our different charging bays, and just how you remember, how you keep track of making sure things are charged and ready to go for a Sunday morning. If you didn't see my tech tour that I posted a couple of weeks ago about the church, the Battle Creek Church, they have a pretty cool solution that you can go and check out there. And I loved getting to do that tech walkthrough. I took my media intern over there to Battle Creek, and it was just cool to get to peek behind the scenes. I mean, I've done that with those guys a few times, but to get to actually capture on the camera, just them actually explaining everything. And hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Hopefully it's inspiring. You know, they're a much larger church than most of us, but we can always take those ideas and, you know, implement them in our own way. So yeah, that's a good question. Let's see, what other questions we got going on in here? Nick, you asked a question that for some reason it held for review, but I don't know if you guys can see it. He asked, are tally lights, is that a yay or nay? Like, if you need tally lights in a live stream, what solutions do you have? So I've gone back and forth on that, and that's a good question. I think it depends probably on your leadership and your pastor, if they find it distracting or if they find it helpful. And for us, none of our cameras have built-in tally, like Blackmagic cameras or things like that, where you can see that from the stage very easily. So for a while, my solution was to use, I don't think I have the app anymore, an app. We have a bunch of old iPhones, and I mounted these iPhones either in the cold shoe of the camera or right next to the camera. And there's like, I think if you search ATEM tally, if you're using an ATEM, it's cool because the whole screen gets taken up with either red or green, for either program or preview, or it's just blank. At that time, our Wi-Fi wasn't very good. And so I actually had to do like a lightning dongle to Ethernet. And then that was great. It worked. But I felt like it was maybe more distracting than it was being helpful. The only times I really think that tally is super important is when your people on stage are directly addressing the online audience, to know what camera to look in, because that can be frustrating. I'm sure you guys know, like your pastor saying like, hey, welcome to everybody watching online, and they're like looking at some camera that you're not even on. So I think tallies definitely can be helpful, and hopefully that's a solution. Do you guys use tally? Do you have any other solutions out there? Post it in the comments. All right, we got Bob hopping on from Nashville, and Believe from Charlotte. All right, here's a good question from Believe. Would you rather have a rack case at the side of the stage, or would you like all your inputs to be in the floor of the stage? I would like all of my inputs to be in different floor pockets in the stage, but then go into a patch bay that's maybe on side stage or backstage, or digital I/O, that it wouldn't matter. If I'm plugging into number 5 in that floor pocket, it's not like locked into being number 5 on the soundboard or whatever. But definitely having it in the stage is helpful because it just cuts down on all the cable runs back and forth. Even if you just did a sub snake to like the drums or something like that. So I know a lot of churches are even moving to like Dante in floor pockets for certain things. We don't use any Dante. Maybe that's something in the future we will look into, but right now we don't even have a digital stage box. We have a M.E.s M32, and it's all copper floor pocket stuff into the back of the soundboard. So, and I guess really once you get everything set up, for most churches, you're not changing things that much. But if you're a mobile church, that's a different consideration. Isaac says, we're using a small Arduino boards with OLED screens, like a Raspberry Pi, that are powered via USB-C and connected to their ATEM over Wi-Fi for tally. Yeah, okay, I've seen those. They're powered via USB-C and they're over Wi-Fi. So Isaac, are those like those little orange guys that I've maybe seen that you can have the little screen light up different colors? I just didn't know how long those batteries lasted on those little Arduino boards. Would they last for a 3-hour thing, or are we charging between services? He says, yeah, the little orange ones, $10 per unit. Yeah, I did see those. I was just wondering, what's the battery life on those, because they're so tiny. And yeah, I've never messed with Raspberry Pi stuff and kind of that other realm. I'm sure it's pretty cool. Philip, hey, thanks for joining from across the pond. That's awesome. He says batteries last for about 6 hours. They leave them plugged in all the time. Yeah, if you're on a lockdown shot or something like that. Philip, he says, how would you design a rack? What software would you use? Might be a video idea. Are you talking about like a gear rack that like a portable rack or a rack for your sound booth, something like that. We bought our custom. It's nothing special. It's just a wood rack for all of our gear through a website called niceracks.com. And I don't remember. I'm not going to do it live on a live stream. I'm not going to put that address in, but I feel like it's nice-racks.com. It's just a guy who makes them, and he can do custom stuff, and that was the most affordable thing. We also have a guy in our church who's built them before, but yeah, that's probably what I would do. We have both. We don't have QLXD. We have ULXD. We do have some new Sennheiser in a new venue that we opened up. It's actually called The Venue. That it's working well. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that much about the wireless differences between the two, you know, like Shure Accient stuff is amazing. The dual channel, the fallback, the redundancy of that's cool, but just for the price, I don't know. Do they both have built-in docking things? Yeah. we have Sennheiser and Shure, so we're not married to either one. Hey, we got another from Australia. Thomas, awesome, dude. Thanks for hopping on. Guys, maybe you can answer this. Why might you need more than one M.E. on your video switcher? More than one M.E., that's mix effect. Because currently we use two different ATEMS that I link together through just feeding our camera feed into the second one. And, you know, that kind of funnels us into maybe talking about some of this new worship tech that's out there. So let's hop over and look at the new Blackmagic Constellation switchers. That's hard to say. All right, if you guys didn't see, at NAB, Blackmagic announced these new Constellation HD switchers, and I think we were all hoping for the Magic Bullet, the ATEM Mini Extreme in a rack version like this one that I have here, but in a Studio HD form factor. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But what they did give us was 3 different models here. You got kind of your standard Studio HD look here with the, it's actually got 10 inputs, which is a step up for sure. Each of those inputs has built-in scalers on it. And then you got, which is just a 1ME. And then you got your 2ME and your 4ME Constellation HD. So none of those are 4K. They're all just HD. So if you want that, you know, you're going to have to step up to their older models. But they seem like, I don't know, what are you guys thinking? Are you wondering about getting one? They don't have any HDMI inputs on there. They're all SDI, even the multi-view output. They got rid of the XLR inputs for just 1/4 inch inputs. You can use it now like as a USB kind of like capture device. If you wanted to go that route and dump it into OBS or something else, you could do that if you wanted to. They look interesting for sure. I don't think it solves my problems currently. So we probably are not upgrading to these. You're still going to need like a hyperdeck to record and some other way to encode, like we have the Web Presenter HD. So, but I don't know, they're interesting, and they may be worth it if you're doing a lot of conversion of different cameras, like you have a bunch of GoPros or something that you're having to run decimators in, out of, and that might save you a bunch of money. But here's the prices. $1,000 for the 1ME is, that's the same price, so that's awesome. The 2ME is only $16.95. So I think this 2ME is interesting. Now you don't have super source, which is how I'm doing this right here, with one camera kind of placed one area and then another feed and another with graphics. So you don't have that on the 1ME, but you do have it on the 2ME. Let's see what you guys are thinking. No thoughts. That's all. That's no big deal. Yeah, that's a good point, Philip. Yeah. He says some churches use the 1ME for live stream mixing and then have the other ME for in-house iMag projection. Yeah, see, we don't do iMag here, so that hasn't been a consideration for me. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. What else has been going on tech-wise? Let's look at a couple of other things that I saw that had come out. Sunday Keys introduced a really cool looking new thing that might be interesting for your worship team. So I'll just kind of play David's video here and talk about it. What it is, it's basically a replacement for MainStage, all in a self-contained app, an iPad app. All the sounds, it's not using any MainStage or Ableton or anything like that to get the sounds. It's all built into the iPad app. And so, you're just connecting via a dongle into your iPad, and you can control, all your different things. You can have different sections of a patch. Like right here is different sections of that song where you could have preset volumes and effects already pulled up, so you're not having to mess with the faders. That's my only hesitancy with an iPad, is you lose that tactile, feeling. I just don't know that it always works in a performance environment, because I like being able to actually feel stuff. But if you can preset it like that, I don't know. It's an interesting take, though. It's only out for beta for people who have subscribed to Sunday Keys, but it looks really interesting, and I think it's just trying to take control of all things and not having to rely on MainStage or all of those different things. Let's see if this works. Hey, it worked. We got the confetti. We got the confetti today. Sample Stuff says, hey man, keep it up, brother. Us production guys gotta hustle, and this is helping multiple churches, big and small. Glad I caught you live today. Submitted on our Rivers Crossing Easter for quick review. Keep crushing it. Hey, thanks so much for the super chat, and I'm glad I got the confetti working through H2R graphics. That's always fun. Yeah, Isaac says about that Sunday Keys, you can connect a Korg Nano controller for controlling knobs and faders. Yeah, you could do that, and then, but now I guess you're doing a dongle that has multiple USBs for inputs device. I've never tried doing a USB controller into an iPad, so I'm not sure how many devices it will support simultaneously. If you have your keyboard and then you have your Nano Control also, will it just work with a USB hub? I don't know. That'll be something to look into for sure. Let's see, other tech before we get into these stream reviews. I ran across this little thing, which is kind of cool. It is basically LED tape in a diffusion channel, but it comes with acrylic. And look at this little effects that it's got here. Hold on, come on. I don't know, my video's not playing smoothly. There we go. This LED tape is pixel mapped, and so that's a whole different story. But there you go. Look how cool that could be. Instead of using Coroplast, using acrylic in these channels, I think this is technically made as a baseboard that you can put in a room or underneath your kitchen countertops or something like that. But it works pretty well. Now, it's not cheap. It's about $75 for the pieces of acrylic. But I'm just thinking you could DIY something like this, and acrylic just catches the light differently than Coroplast or other just white surfaces. to kind of give it that glowing effect. But, it kind of almost ends up looking like an LED panel in this video, at least. So that was interesting. All of these things I'll link to in the description and timestamps and all that. So if you want to come back later and check it out, you can do that. And guys, I so appreciate all of you who have clicked on one of my Amazon affiliate links over the last year. YouTube, I don't make hardly any money at. And so it's any money that I'm making to, help feed my children and make this side hustle worth the time investment comes from those Amazon affiliate links. So the way that works is it doesn't cost you anything, but if you click on one of those links and you end up buying something, I get 3 or 4% of what you bought. So I greatly appreciate it. You don't know how helpful that is. Another interesting piece of tech that came out at NAB, it's just so expensive, but it's something that a lot of people have been asking for, is this PTZ functionality, but with large format cameras or mirrorless cameras, micro four thirds cameras, a PTZ that's not a PTZ. And there's been some other ones out before this, but Datavideo is trying to kind of fulfill that need where you can have zoom, focus, iris, all remotely over HD-Base-T. And I saw a video with Photo Joseph, if you want to check it out on his channel, where he paired it with the Panasonic BGH1. And I think it was just one Cat5 cable. And with the Panasonic software, you can control it all. Now, the thing is, it's $2,700 just for the head. That doesn't include a camera, and I don't think that includes the controller that you would also need to control the Datavideo PTZ units. So I still have the opinion that I just don't think PTZs are really worth it if you can avoid it. So, you guys got any other questions? Yeah, Jake on that Constellation, he says the 4ME also has the MADI input. Yeah, we don't use MADI either, but I could see that being a really cool thing for people that are in that realm and maybe need that audio flexibility. So yeah, that's definitely another bonus. Do I implement waves in my church? No, we don't do any plugins, any Waves stuff. No Waves Tune, no live tuning. I have used Waves Tune on 1 or 2 songs that we did some post-production on. But we are not built that way. All of our live streaming audio, if you want to look at that video on my channel where I've talked about how we build a broadcast mix, it's just a stereo bus mix out of our M32, and it's a post-fader mix. So no one is listening to it. No one is monitoring it. It is literally preset, but based on how it's being mixed in the room. So just through trial and error and weeks and weeks of adjusting things, we're pretty happy with it. It's not perfect, but for us, it's a good solution for now. But speaking of implementing waves in your church, why don't we hop over into the live stream reviews, because this first church that we're going to look at actually does do some different stuff with plugins. And it is a church in, where are they at? Sweden, maybe? Yeah. So Petrus, he says, we are a church in Sweden with about 250 people. We use an ATEM Mini Extreme, ISO, ProPresenter 7, Canon mirrorless, and an XA40 and Sony camcorders. Nowadays, we've also bought a Blackmagic Pocket 4K, but they do the audio in post in Fruity Loops Studio with Waves plugins. So let's listen and look. Petrus wants the most help with just cameras and feedback about that stuff. But let's give their service a listen and see how they're utilizing Waves in Fruity Loops Studio, which I believe is Fruity Loops still free. I feel like it was free back in the day. Let's get going here to where some music happens. Seems like a lot of churches do this where they are, there's always like this long intro or a really long call to worship. We don't do it that way at our church, but I understand the need because like people are still filtering in usually. And it's like, well, we don't really want to start, but not saying that's right or wrong. All right, here we go. We got music going now. Let's listen.
Så finns det en liten lapp jag bara bjuder oss.
All right, reading scripture. Here we go.
För du har skapat allt och allt blev skapat för.
And I will say, as we review these, don't worry about the sync of the audio. I have to delay my audio 3 frames for this mic and my cameras to match up, so that's not always their fault. But initially, sounds good, right?
Att du ska få all ära. Oh, Jesus, du förtjänar allt. Jesus, du förtjänar allt.
Yeah.
För du har skapat allt och allt blev skapat för att du ska få all ära.
Man, I will say, obviously, it's easier to get a good mix with a simple mix. You know, you got vocals and acoustic guitar right here going, but it sounds really nice. It's a good blend. I like the amount of like reverb and roominess. Like you still have audience mics going, but it's clean sounding. So, but you're doing this all in post, but the same principles can apply to the live stream setting. Now, cameras color-wise, this setting is one of the harder settings to film in. When I filmed weddings and stuff like that, it's always like, because it's so high dynamic range, right? You've got this giant window behind everyone. And so if you don't have super strong front light, key light to light your band and your singers, you know, you're picking one or the other that you're going to expose to people's faces or to the window, you know? And so this looks pretty good. I mean, you didn't say specifically which cameras were in what spots or if these are the Blackmagics or if, you know, one's the Sony or not, but I like what you're doing here. Let's keep watching for just a minute. All right, let's fast forward. Okay, here's a wide shot. See what I mean here? Like they have to overexpose those windows, and that's just hard. That's just really hard. Let's go forward a little bit here. Okay, here we go. Is someone worshiping outside in the background? It's like you have your praise flag people outside. That is interesting. Could maybe you just don't have enough stage room? I have no idea what you're saying, but like I'm worshiping right now. I would say that's a little close for me, a little full of frame as far as head, just being a little full in the frame. Maybe I'd zoom out just a little bit on these super tights that you're doing, but I like the intimacy of them. I will say, at least in this mix, I wanted to hear the keys a little more, just maybe a touch less vocals and a touch more keys. I don't know. I didn't realize there was a keys player till you went over there to him. So what are you guys hearing? Hal says, that's tough, shooting into windows. Good job compensating for sure. John, thoughts on reverb? You know, that's always like a personal taste kind of thing for sure. So Peter asks, why not using a LUT? Yeah, if you are using Blackmagic cameras, then for sure, try and take that into Resolve and build a LUT and get as much of that dynamic range back as you can. I'm not sure which cameras they said they actually have for Blackmagic stuff, but yeah, you can do that for sure. They're singing day and night, night and day. Let incense arise. Daniel, thank you. That's helpful. Hey, let's give it up for, I think it was Petrus, wasn't it? Yes, Petrus, all the way over in Sweden. That is so cool. Thank you so much for jumping on and putting that into the queue there. You are done. Only 18 to go. How do you submit a live stream? There's a link in the description. As you can see, we have 18 to go. So we're going to have to pump through these. And honestly, if there's somewhere I'm like, you know, I'm just not sure what thoughts I want to give to that, we'll just punt. We'll go through them. We'll punt on those. But this is Hans. Says their church's media budget isn't that big yet. So we're using two cameras, a Sony HXR MC2500, which is connected to the capture device of vMix. Okay, and the second one is a Canon 6D. And they're using that over USB and the Canon webcam utility. So you're kind of locked down then for sure on that one because it's got to be close to the computer. They send the output via NDI to the vMix PC. So many things I'm already kind of lost. They don't have a physical switcher, but he wants to know about directing. You know, and that's hard when you only have two inputs and one's got to be pretty locked down. Let's just see. I mean, they're sending something over NDI back to vMix here, it looks like. I want to make sure I remember your name. I think it was Hans. Yeah. So what it looks like to me here initially, and guys, let me know on your end if you're seeing this as well. It looks like maybe your frames per second that you're able to stream out is maybe not the full, like if you're shooting at 30p, it may only be actually sending out like 15 or something like that. Or you're really having to crank that shutter because you're in an outdoor space or something like that. So let's listen here a little bit. I don't want to blow you guys up, so turn that down and I'll turn this back on. I like the idea of having somebody up close in the mix and kind of having a roamer. The audio, you just definitely need to back that down because it's overdriven. So finding that happy level where, you know, you're just hitting the yellow in OBS or vMix would probably be where you want to sit. It looks like you guys are high energy and that's awesome. You got shots of people worshiping. That's a good looking shot. That's probably your 6D, I'm assuming. Kind of got some depth of field to it. I'm not typically a fan of these kind of shots where you're actually showing the congregation worshiping, but that's different for every church culture, I think. So directing, switching wise, you need at least one steady shot. You need at least one that's like on a tripod somewhere. Typically in the back of the room in the middle is where you want to shoot for. So those are some initial thoughts. And that may just be the setting that you're in and what you're up against as far as maybe internet speed or those different things. But check on those things. All right, Hans. Appreciate you submitting that in the live stream. Did you guys notice anything else? Was I crazy on that? I don't think so. I think that's what it was, just coming through on YouTube. All right. And these are from oldest to newest. So I don't know when you submitted, but we got Mr. Arthur here. Man, I can't pronounce these. Eliam Church Crawley. They have an ATEM TV Studio HD, one manned EOS 200D, and two unmanned. I don't know what that is. A Legria HF R806. I'm assuming that's a camcorder of some sort. But let's pull it up and take a look. See if we can help them out. Oh, they just put it to their church YouTube, and he wants help on directing. So that means we get to pick, which means we're just going to pick the most recent one, full service here. Oh, I like that you've added chapters. If you guys aren't going back and adding chapters into your YouTube videos, you need to, or at least going back into the editor and trimming your service out. All right, here we go. We can get to kicking in here.
Almighty God of love, be welcomed in this place. We welcome you with praise. We welcome you with praise. Almighty God of love, be welcomed in this place. Let every heart.
All right, this is a very like standard kind of church live stream audio mix that I'm used to hearing, where the vocals are pretty up front and the mix is more like what you would maybe hear in the room. It looks like you have live drums, so you probably don't have drums hot in the house, and so that's kind of translating to your audio mix. So you know, you've got some panning going on, but I think it's a little too strong. You got a female vocal like way over in the left and another one over way far in the right. So I just want more fullness in the mix, more drums. Looks like you got them all mic'd up. So, all right, let's look at directing. I like your lower thirds. That looks good. So I think you said you had one manned camera and the other two are unmanned. So let's see if we can find those shots maybe where one is manned. It's a long time to sit on that shot. It's just boring to kind of watch. All right, you got another side camera here that you got a slow zoom on it. You did go in tighter on this worship leader. Looks like maybe this is your manned camera. Featuring the mic stand. Don't you love that though, whenever you're like, okay, I've got her, she's in the perfect spot, and then the ladies like move up into the wrong spot, and then they go to you and you're like, well, nothing I can do now. Yeah, I mean, I have not seen, at least you are kind of alternating between some different singers, the drummer, some different shots to keep it going. One thing that I will say is like, you guys are doing these slow fade of the lights behind over the whole song. I don't know, it doesn't feel super intentional to me. It just feels like, oh, these lights can fade between blue and purple. Let's do it. And I don't know that it's adding necessarily that much. That's a good shot. You got your piano player. I will say your worship leaders, they are all having kind of a personal worship time. They've all got their eyes closed and they're all looking down, and it's not super engaging for the church or for especially watching online, even more so, I would say. And it's just something to be, there's somebody actually kind of like looking out like, hey, let's worship together. I'm singing with you. This guy has not opened his eyes the whole time, I don't think. I don't know why he even has a music stand there. He's not even looking at it. So, I mean, that makes it hard for you when you're directing, because you're trying to help that translate, and you know that can make it a little difficult. So, yeah, I mean, those are my initial thoughts. What are you guys thinking? I want to make sure I'm not missing any of y'all's comments. All right. Well, we're going to keep on going, keep on trucking. That was number 3, I think, that we've done. We're picking up more as we go here. I feel like I haven't, we started with 17 and I've done 3 and now we're, back at 19. Let's see. Israel says that they have 2 Canon XA25s, 1 XA35, a Blackmagic TV Studio, into Camlink, into OBS for Restream. Okay. All right. So they have 2 Canon XA25s and 1 XA35. So these cameras were getting recommended a ton as a cheap option, you know, for churches that need like a camcorder with clean output and everything when the pandemic first started. So let's kind of see what they look like here. I like that your intro video is like showing the life of your church. That is awesome. As long as this really is your church. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh no. Don't you love that? Whenever you go to switch and something's different with the audio, it's like, where's my audio input? Now it's on. All right, here we go. Oh, clear acrylic drums with the LED inside. I like that shot. That looks great. Okay. Canon's not doing bad here. They got a lot of light on stage. Looks like a lot of color. All the way up. Yeah. So this is a good shot right here. You got a waist up shot with a nice clean background. Key light is nice on them. It seems maybe a little oversaturated to me, but that could just be your background. Good shot. We're on an instrumental, so we're going to the instrumentalist. A little out of focus, but you get it. It's all right. Hey, good directing. Right back to the singer right before they start singing. Now we haven't done a wide shot yet, and that was the opening of the service, as far as I know. So, you know, if you guys have been watching me a while, I'm big on those establishing shots. You know, for your live stream being that front door for people to check out your church, I think it's important to have that establishing of the room shot just to show people the space that we're actually in, where we're, you know, that they're going to be living in for the next hour as they take part in worshiping in the live stream. So I like to open up our service, unless somebody's talking right at the beginning, but at some point there, that opening instrumental or something like that, showing a big wide shot, just to establish the room. All right, let's just poke through here, see if we see any other shots. We've got these nice close-ups. So it's like, do you have a congregation in the room? Are you able to meet back in person with your church? Because so far for me, this could have been recorded midweek and it's being posted later. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, I'm not sure, without seeing congregation, which I'm a fan of, showing silhouettes of the congregation, this could be all pre-recorded and then just live streamed. So skin tones look really good. You know, your LED wall, I'm seeing some like M.E.s stuff, but it's really not horrible. Let's see. Having cameras with bigger sensors would help get rid of some of those patterns in your LED wall, hopefully. I don't know what pixel pitch you're at behind there, but I've heard, we don't have an LED wall, but I've heard that does help just because it, you know, the depth of field can help blur out some of that stuff. So that's my initial thoughts. Thanks so much for submitting that. Israel, you guys are doing really well. So, and I'm just a guy. Like, you guys can take what I tell you and throw it in the trash. It doesn't matter. But you are submitting these for me to give you feedback. So I don't just want to like butter everybody's biscuit, you know. Like, I do want to give you some helpful thoughts. And you know, your mom hopefully is buttering your biscuit and telling you how great everything is. So this was Ben. They have Blackmagic Ursas. All right. GoPro for drum cam, JVC for the piano shot. No wireless cams. Basic EQ on the audio mix. He just wants help with directing. So let's thank you for adding these chapters in there. All right, so they got Ursas, which should be like top notch. I can see like hitting on these punches. This looks like he's probably in the drum cage. I'm just never a fan of this shot. I don't know why, like that kind of like looking down through the cymbal shot. I don't know. It seems weird to me. That's great right there. What I like is the pacing of your shot changes is matching the energy of the song. I think that's super important to be thoughtful about. I Thank God is this really high energy, always just like, you know, Mumford & Sons meets Maverick City Worship song. And I like that. I think you could be better about timing your cuts with like those punches. Like on the pre-chorus, it does these little things, and just knowing that ahead of time so you can match. So like, so far, it's the right pacing. It's just maybe not around the right beats. And that's kind of like that. You don't notice it, but you notice it. Okay, that was good. And then right on this build, you would go to the drums. Oh, drum fill, dugga dugga. And then I would go back to the vocals on that or something. I love the perspective of the hands being raised. I'm gonna turn that down or else I might get flagged and shut down here for playing that. So those are my initial thoughts. So right here, it looks like maybe, I'm not sure what key light you're using, but like his skin tone doesn't look super healthy for your lead singer. None of them do. They kind of have like, but he looks great. Of course, he's got nice skin, but we need help. I don't know what key light you're using, if it's the same on everybody across. If it is, may just take a look. It's just mainly that camera that I feel like maybe, because this one, the closer one, looks better to me color-wise. See what I mean? Like, I don't know. They have like maybe too much green hue. I'm not sure. It's a little too desaturated for my taste. It's almost like you're going for that Red Rocks look. She looks good there though. Wait, see, and his is better there. So maybe it was just whatever LEDs you had going on in the room for color was making it look that way. I like your lyrics, your cinematic black box look. We do that too. I love the shots like this where it's, you know, down the line on the keys. So those are my initial thoughts. I hope you guys are finding this helpful. If you need like one-on-one help, remember you can always just submit on my Jimmy form that's in the description. And I do one-on-one Zoom consults with people that just want to chat about it and actually have dialogue. So that's an option for you too. Here's Jeff with the Refuge Church. What time is it? 10:50. We've already been doing this 50 minutes. Goodness. 2 PTZ optics cameras. So this is a totally other end of the spectrum here from what we just saw. Those were Ursa Minis. These are PTZs. They've got them mounted in certain spots. ATEM Mini Pro, going to OBS. Okay. Yeah, he wants help with the audio mix because he says it sounds good on the bus, but then when it hits Facebook, he's like, man, yeah, welcome to just streaming on Facebook. I feel like I hate the way that they compress things on Facebook Live. So let's throw this one up there. And I think it was Jeff, wasn't it? Yeah, Jeff. What? Hold the phone. Just cuz. Come on, Sample Stuff. You're too kind. Have another one just cuz. Well, I greatly appreciate that super chat. You guys, you never have to super chat. It helps, you know. I mean, that's cool. It really does. I'm never going to reject a super chat, but you get the confetti. Sample Stuff, thanks so much. Greatly appreciated. All right, let's look at Jeff's mix here. Remember, he wants the most help with audio, and so let's get here where they get going, and we'll give it a listen.
The miracle that I just can't get over. My name is registered in heaven. Oh, my praise belongs to you forever. This is my testimony, from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify.
So, first thing I'm hearing is it just sounds like maybe EQ issues on individual channels. Like your vocals kind of sound mid-rangey, like low mid, like muffly sounding, and the clarity of the vocals really isn't there for me. Y'all listen and let me know what you think.
By Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Yeah. Come together, sons and daughters.
That snare, it's either really bad at the source or it's got a weird EQ going on that snare. And then like just little things like, you know, that they've got that electric guitar solo going right there on that instrumental part. Just trying to bring that up in the mix a little bit. It just seems pretty vocal heavy to me. I'm not sure if you have any audience mics in your room, but just to kind of let this breathe a little bit and feel more like a live mix and not just straight off of the X32.
But with blood and washed in water, and sing the praises of the Spirit, Son, and Father. Our God will finish what we started. Oh, yes, our God will finish what we started.
You got some talented musicians though. Like your drummer is getting it. Your guitarist looks super young, but is playing great parts. Yeah, I think it just seems like maybe EQing, going back to each channel at the start. And I don't know what it sounds like in your room, but since you said it's just based off of, you know, each your in the room mix, it's not a separate feed. I would think it's maybe going back to each source and just really dialing in that to begin with. I like that you got some panning going on with the drums. I would just look at that snare sound. It looks like he's got some good gear, so it's probably maybe a different mic choice. The placement of the mic, I can't see from this angle. Do you have a 57 over the top of the head? Are you dual micing it? I doubt it. Is this just the overheads pointing down? Is that what I'm hearing? So those are some of my thoughts. The PTZs don't look like super bad or anything. They're fine. It's just, you've got two here, and you know, you got your medium wide that captures the whole band, which is fine. Okay. And then you've got the bird's nest view, the crow's nest, which at least it shows your room. I am not a big fan of this shot unless it's like just sparingly, like maybe it's moving or across your balcony or something like that. But at least you do have that to show the whole room. If you can bring that down to the back of the room on the floor, that's great. I just know a lot of churches aren't built where you can do that because you got your entrance right there. So that can be hard. Your LED coloring is like the LED lights. It looks like maybe you've got a front wash just by looking at the flooring of where they're standing. Like, see where they're standing, it looks green as well. And I'm not a huge fan of throwing front color onto people. Backlight, spill light, reflected things, like you're gonna have that when you're doing scenic lighting. But if you can avoid that, do. If that is your front light, then like what you're using for face light, you might look at upgrading that, and that might help some. So I'm just seeing like a lot of green on skin and things like that, and that's never what you want. So, okay, there's another. Thank you for submitting, though. If I don't delete these as we go, I won't remember which ones I've done. Let's see here. Gabe. Oh, Sony a6400. This is the church front recommended camera setup. Sony 18 to 135, Tamron 30mm, f1.4, Sony 55 to 210, ATEM Mini Extreme. So these are all Sony a6400s. So those are APS-C cameras, if you guys aren't familiar. Bigger sensor size. Now, I will say this before we get going. Do not play Spotify. Do not play CCM, Top 40, any real music on your live stream before your service, like the MP3s of it. It's just going to get your service flagged, and eventually you might get a copyright strike. You might get who knows what. You might get it taken down in the middle of your stream. You know, there's been people that's happened to. So I recommend using a site like Soundstripe or Epidemic Sound or something like that, to where it's just royalty free. You're gonna, you pay to get the music, or just, I don't know, maybe even maybe if you guys have like a free resource that you get your music that's royalty free from, drop that in the comments right now for me, and we can help each other out that way. I mean, like, I know YouTube has a database, but I don't know how you can use that on a live stream through your church. Like, I don't know that you can download it. So, let's listen now.
Flows from you. Healing flows from you. The nations have
He wants the most help on directing. So we're starting with this wide shot, kind of establishing. Okay, but at that point, I probably would have gone to a close-up of the guy talking. Oh, yeah. I love that shot. You got gimbal guy going behind the crowd. That's one of my faves. I would bring it tighter, though, and get in on that guy that's really talking and trying to get everybody on the same page. Very nice shot of your keyboard. That's definitely the Bethel movement there, where it's like we're kind of swaying here next to the keyboard. Okay, you got swimmy looking tripod thing. I love that, where it looks handheld, but it's not. Not a fan of your lower thirds. They seem too thin and too small to me. That's a good shot there. Profile. Okay, let's watch pacing. I'll let you guys listen to it for a minute.
There is a sound I love to hear. It's the sound of the Savior who's rolled as he walks into the room where people pray. Will we hear worship?
It's a great looking shot. Love the side stage. Did I hear a tuning thing there?
Awake my soul and sing his praise aloud. Sing his praise aloud.
Let's watch timing now. We're going to an instrumental. Perfect. I still hate that shot. I like that it's moving though in this one at least. maybe it's a drum booth thing. Like you're just locked into doing something like this. But that's so much better.
I like that.
Yeah, you guys are on top of things. Like your cameras match color-wise, it looks like to me. I like that this tripod shot doesn't look like a tripod shot. It kind of is doing like the little swimmy thing. I don't know what to call that. I like at least that this drum shot is moving on a slider. If you're in the chat, tell us how you got that slider mounted, because I've seen some people, and people have asked me about that. We don't have a drum cage. Yeah, these are great. These are great. So I just want to encourage you. Very good. Sound mix sounds good too. Love it. Very good energy. It translates. Like what you're doing in the room, it translates to me watching it here. So, and that, I think that's the goal. Like we want our online church family to feel a part of it. And that's why we spend so much time dialing in stuff and messing with stuff. Yeah. So thank you for submitting that, Gabe. Tell your band they're good. And your tech team is doing a great job too. All right, it's already 11. I've been going for an hour and 3 minutes, fellas. Crossroads Church, Concord, North Carolina, Danny Green. Oh, a Vimeo link. All right. I don't know what that is. A video switcher, HVS XT110, 2 GoPro Hero 5 blacks. Oh my gosh, old school. Hero 5? XF205s. Oh, then a Blackmagic ATEM 4ME, Broadcast Studio 4K. I don't know what that first thing is. Let's just pull it up. What do you want help on? Directing. This is Danny. Is this Easter? Yeah. You got the dual lyrics there for Spanish and English, it looks like there. Everything's really dark, but that's probably just like a theatrical. Yeah, now here we go. Come on, Vimeo, you can do it. Load. I like that big cross. That's a pretty clean looking camera. This is kind of like a special opener. Maybe I'll go forward here. I like doing those too, where it's like if you can do a focus pull with that or with that cross, it's a good little dissolve where it's purposeful. Maybe a little long. at least these shots, at least they have movement. There's the cameras are not just standing still. Really, I think they have one that's all locked off. It's really high contrast camera look, like super punchy. It may be a little much for, like, I feel like you've got some overexposed areas. A lot of people wearing white, that never helps. But that also makes it hard for you to read the lyrics whenever you have those highlights that are overblown. It's not bad. It's more of that like high contrast look, and I'm not usually against that. It's just like that camera doesn't look as contrasty and saturated to me. That one does though. It's not bad though. It's skin tones look pretty good. It's just hard because, like, oh, can I go back just like a little bit? So for instance, it's hard because you got a really dark skin tone here and then really fair skin tone here. And so, you know, lighting for that is hard, and just exposing for that in camera, it can be tough. So I like what you're doing though with the equipment that you got. I like that you've added motion, adding some, you know, being creative however you can, like doing those dissolves purposefully with the different cross elements. Don't overdo it though. But if you can show congregation worshiping, hands raised, that kind of stuff, that'll go a long ways. Yeah, let's go ahead and delete it. All right, we're gonna do 3 more for right now, okay? It's 3 more. Living Faith Victory Center. This is Afton. They have Sony FDR AX33 camera. And then we're not done. We're gonna do 3 more of these, and then we're gonna go into a Q&A and some final tech stuff. So right now, if you're just hopping on the stream, I'd love to do like some Q&A tech stuff, worship, thoughts, whatever it may be. Drop those in the chat. And if you can, just put like question and then, you know, a dash. That way it's easier for me to find here. So they have a bunch of color washes. It looks like they only have 1 camera going into an ATEM Mini. So, but he wants help with the audio mix mainly. So let's listen to his audio mix. But he didn't really say. It's just an X32 soundboard. He didn't really say how they're doing the audio mix. But we know he's on a digital board, so he's got options there of the ways that he's going to do it, you know. Are you going to go in and do mixing in a box? Or are you going to just do a stereo bus or what? So, all right, let's turn up and listen here.
He reigns in victory. Oh, sing hallelujah to the King. He is worthy to receive all the worship we can bring. Oh, sing hallelujah to the King. He is worthy to receive.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like your congregation is super involved, and I feel like I want more audience mics, less direct vocals. I can't hear your guitarist at all. I mean, I hear vocals and a harmony vocal. It's kind of muddy sounding, a little bit of keyboard, and a kick drum. At least you got a little bit of motion going on. You know, it's not just sitting there with the camera, so that's good. But it's just a wide shot. Okay, now we're punching in. Oh, he's got the headset mic going. Trying to see if those are electronic drums. No, just got a sample pad. That was a nice little vocal run. I praise God. Come. There's some guitar in there, I guess. It just still feels pretty dry to me. So, your lyrics are legible. That's all good. Yeah, that's my thoughts, man. X32, go watch my video where I talk about how we do the stereo bus mix, and hopefully that will help you out if you're not doing that currently. Second Chance Community Church, Isaac Sandoval. Who was it that's... Hold on, I want to make sure I get to yours since you gave me the super chat. It was Rivers Crossing Easter. Okay, sorry, Isaac. We're going to Rivers Crossing Easter. If I can... Wait. Hold on. That wasn't you, was it? Second Chance. Do-do-do. Cross Point. Rivers Crossing. Are you still there? Thanks so much for the super chats today. Easter was first time directing the broadcast. Got thrown into the fire. I've done post-production video work for a while though, so I was super nervous. Link is to an unlisted true stream, no post-production. So it's a Constellation 8K. Cameras are C300s. Okay. Lame glass though, but hopefully that makes up for it. ProPresenter 6, Resolume Arena. Audio is run through Logic, and let's just look at his directing. So, Bobby, thanks so much for the super chat and for submitting. And here's the deal: if you super chat, that definitely pushes you to the top of the pile. So, hopefully, he's still here. And let's look at it. All right, beginning in a minute. Let's keep going here. I like this intro. Let's see how it transitions here. Ooh, it's even a custom intro for Easter. Shutter speed on those hands. That's funny. Oh. Stained glass? Is that real? That's gotta be LED wall.
On a hill far away.
Popped in right at the perfect time. See, that's what I'm saying. You started with a wide, more establishing shot, and then right before you started singing, you came into it.
Far away, stood in
and even their tripod camera is moving a little bit, you know? All right, let's get to where you kind of kick in. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We got a band coming in now. Yeah, the C300s look good, for sure. Awesome. Sometimes with that many singers, it can be confusing of like, who's about to sing this one?
Child of weakness, watching pray,
I don't know how many camera guys you have. If you have anybody roaming around, you know, it's like, get those close-ups of the fretboard or something like that. Hey, right when the other people came in, you popped over to them. That's great. Love that. I really like shots like this, maybe where it's a little bit lower, but if you have those backlights where it can kind of create those flares or something like that, that can look really nice behind people. Okay, this one's moving a little bit. Let's go. That's up there. Woo. I like this little reveal. I don't know if you were telling them that. This is interesting though, guys. Watch this. If you've got cameramen, it's so important to, especially if they're roaming or moving, to give them a heads up. You know, count them in. Start your move in 3, 2, 1, and then as they start moving, you know, you're live. So you ready? And move. You're live. And then you tell them when they're off. Okay, you're good? All right, the orchestra is about to come in here in a minute. Give me a close-up of, you know, the timpani drum. I don't know. Okay, we're kind of building here. Let's see what else happens. If it gets any bigger here with, you got a choir. Okay, so here we go. I'm not a fan of the yellow hair lights. I feel like those look weird. Yellow and green, I try not to use on hair light. Good, you got your string quartet, and you had somebody on a shot on them. You got he's more of the pad player, so that is a little confusing. Got your arpeggiating pianist doing something there. All right, now we're on the choir, the praise team. In the Maverick City music khaki look. There you go. Oh my gosh, this guy. All right, now we got people worshiping. All right, we're kind of picking up the pacing now. Oh, there we go, drums. That guy was buff. Oh, that's the only one right there. That's the only one. You got to wait for powerful, you know, and just feel that coming and know that we're going to the big sweeping wide shot right when that powerful hits. It came in a little early. It's all right. Yeah, so you're doing a good job just kind of feeling the energy of the song and matching that while you're directing. And that's great. All right, so it's like, where's that pastor at? He's coming up. There we go. Now we're tight. Yeah. What I see. I love that drum angle right there, just kind of coming up over the toms. Yeah, dude. Awesome. All right, guys, let's move to Q&A and tech reviews. Props to your team there. And first time directing, very, very nice job. All right. I'm going to check y'all's comments and see if I'm missing anything here. We got 10 minutes, and then I got to go. Yeah, John says, big production. Pretty cool. You know what? It was big production stuff, but what I liked as I was watching it is that it was purposeful production and not just big production. You know, starting with the stained glass, the soft looks, the different lighting, and then as that built into this idea of what a powerful name, the name of Jesus is, the lighting, the video, all of it came together to help kind of push that message forward, you know? And so, yeah, I agree. Daniel says, I want to go visit this church. Yeah. Hey, Charles. Glad you made it. All right, so we're moving on to Q&A and some tech stuff that I just noticed this last couple weeks. So let me pop over there and see what else I had pulled up. If you missed earlier, we did a bunch of stream reviews. We talked about the new Sunday Keys iPad app that's only out for beta. which is interesting. We talked about these edge-lit acrylic panels that you can find on Amazon. We talked about the Datavideo PTZ head. We talked about the ATEMS Constellation models that all came out at NAB. I saw yesterday that JBL has come out with this new line of speakers. You know, they have all the different series, and this is their new series, the SRX 900. And what is interesting about these, different than their Vertec, or what's the other one underneath that, VTX, these are the SRX 900s. And I'm assuming, I could be wrong, and maybe you guys out there know more than me about this, but I'm assuming that these are going to try and compete with like the QSC line arrays. The only thing that I thought was interesting, not the only thing, one of the things I thought that was interesting about it was that it doesn't appear to me that the subs are flyable. I can't tell for sure. But most of this line were not line array. They're powered speakers. But it uses the same hanging kind of idea as the Vertec line. So if your church is looking, at upgrading your sound stuff, we use all EV stuff here, line array and EV just powered boxes in our venue. But JBL's been around forever. This might be an interesting thing to get in and demo if you are working with an integrator that I don't even see pricing on these yet, so I'm not sure. But that's just something else that's interesting that's been out there. Another thing that I want to drop in the chat here that just came out today. I'm putting a link to this video, and that just came out today. I didn't even know it was happening today, but I got to be on Jimmy Cooper's channel over on his HeyWorshipLeader channel, and he just put out this video. Look, I'm wearing the same hat, just a different hoodie. That's funny. Are you able to be led in worship? That we talked about, and he had me on. It was just a fun conversation. Like, Jimmy is such a fun guy. If you don't follow HeyWorshipLeader, you should go over after the stream is over and check that out. And it was just a fun conversation. He's just like a good guy and fun to talk to. And we just talked a lot about just our heart and leading people in worship. So I put a link to that in the chat. And like I said, all these different tech things we talked about, I'll put links in the description if I can after this is finished up. So Jake says, let me see if I can find you here. Jake says, I love these. Thanks for doing them. Jake, I don't know. I feel like you submitted a live stream. I may not have gotten to yours this week, but if it's still in the queue, it'll be there for the next time. So I appreciate that feedback. Sometimes I go back and forth on like, should I just maybe take these to like a Patreon type setup where if you want to get your, like, that could be part of like a Patreon model or a YouTube membership model that you can have a free church, live stream review or something like that. But I also feel like part of doing it together is that like you guys can help me because I'm just a guy, like I don't know everything. And I think watching other churches get their live stream reviewed helps you in the process as well without having to submit yours. So I hope that it is helpful and it's not just like boring, like, well, they're just talking about some of their church. So thank you for that feedback. I appreciate that. All right. Well, you guys have any other questions in these last 5 minutes? Shoot them out, and I will check here and make sure nobody threw one out earlier because I said go ahead and do that. But I got to yours, didn't I? I think so. Yeah. Here's a good question. Jake Satera. You always have good questions, Jake. He says, what frame rate is normal for live streams? Well, I'm a fan currently of 29.97 for a few reasons. I feel like it is closer to that 24p cinematic type thing. It allows you to have a slower shutter speed, which can help with quite a few things. It can help with LED flicker. And the reason that is because you want your shutter speed, or your, what do they call it in camcorders? I guess it is shutter speed in both of them. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of gain and ISO. You want that to be double, whatever your frame rate is. So if my frame rate was 59.94, my shutter speed now has to be 120. Technically, I mean, I've done it still at 16. It's really not bad because we're not moving super fast, but 30 frames a second, 29.97. I think that it's easy because you have a slower shutter speed. It's closer to being more cinematic and not as high frame ratey. It also can kind of play nice with like just getting your video out throughout the building. If you're distributing video over SDI, 1080p at 60 is going to take up more data in those lines than 1080p at 30. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People do it whatever they want. 24 is a little bit harder because not all switchers accept that. 59.94 is pretty standard. I think some people are still doing interlaced, which is, I'm not as long as you can de-interlace it before it hits the web, that's important. If you're having to do 59.94i, yeah. What are you guys doing out there? Maybe that'll help us realize what is the normal frame rate. Okay, this is a good question. Reference video and audio. Do you recommend any church streams that you would call great as reference to try and mimic? I use the chapel out of Buffalo, New York. Yeah, John, that's a really good question. There are definitely some church streams out there that are good, kind of like that baseline, like, okay, here's kind of what we can shoot for. Red Rocks Church is definitely up there. The Belonging Co. These are like mega churches, though. For a church that's not a mega church, I really like North Church out of Oklahoma City. They do a great job on their live stream and the way they produce and their sound and everything. It's not a mega church, but it's really, really good. Obviously, there's other really, really big churches. Another one here local is Church on the Move in Tulsa. That does a really great job. You can check out Battle Creek. I did that tech tour on a couple weeks ago. They're great. So yeah, I have quite a few. And one thing you can always do, like when you're trying to dial in an audio mix, I do this all the time. Sound engineers have done this for years. You have that reference audio, reference video track. Maybe you're trying to get your audio to sound a certain way. Well, when you just do it blindly, it's really easy to think, oh man, that sounds good. And then you compare it to something else and you're like, oh, okay, it's missing that something. And so that can help you out for sure. Just one trick that I've tried doing, and maybe you could do, say you want it to look a certain way on camera, you can use like Premiere has and I think DaVinci does too, like a match feature to get you kind of started on maybe building a LUT if your cameras can do LUTs. Of course, everybody's lighting is different, so that doesn't always work. But, that's just something. So, very good question. Okay. All right, guys. Well, how many of you stuck around the whole time? Were you here from the start? I want you to raise your hand in the chat if you were here from the beginning when the countdown was starting, because you deserve a gold star. And if you were here that whole time and you were here for me to review your stream, please comment and let me know that, and I will move yours to the top of the list for next time. I try to do these live stream review, just live stream talking with you guys maybe every 3 or 4 weeks, mixing in other videos for the channel. So I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and you won't miss the different fun things that we've got coming up. Summer is just around the corner, and a lot of cool stuff happening. So I hope that this weekend, this Sunday, everything goes swell for you guys, that there are no worship and tech fails, and that we continue just to do great things for God's glory and finding ways to just point people to Christ, to share the gospel. And I think live streaming is a great way to do that. You know, even if your live stream is only reaching 15, 20, 30 people every Sunday, think about this. That may be that many people. That may be 30 people that weren't being reached otherwise. Don't just think, oh, well, we'll just let the mega churches do it. We'll just let these other people handle it. You know, they can do it way better than us. God is got your church there for a reason. And the message that He's laid on your pastor's heart and the way your worship team is leading, I think that God can use that in a unique way. So in your community and sometimes even across the world, you just never know. I mean, even just watching and seeing you guys comment from all around the globe, it just encourages me to know, amateur, to know that God can use us. And there's been times where I've definitely thought, why am I even doing this YouTube thing? Like, why does anybody care what I think? I'm just in Owasso, Oklahoma at this 450 people church. But I just love that we can encourage one another, you know, iron sharpens iron, and build the body up. So thank you guys for jumping on the live stream. And I hope that y'all have a great weekend. Okay. We'll see you next time. Until then, remember, we can do great things. Let's do it all for God's glory. See ya.